Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans alike, we are here, and this is a segment I like to call If We Keeping It a Buck. We have several topics on hand, and look, it's if we keeping it a buck, if we keeping it real, if we keeping it 100, I'm gonna keep it real with you. So, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're a big wrestling fan, leave a like on this video. So, I'm not gonna hold you much long at all. We're about to jump up into this thing. Look, man, if we keeping it a buck, AEW better not mess it up with Keith Lee. Keith Lee debuted and the place exploded. He debuted on Dynamite. He took out Isaiah Cassidy. He's in the face of the Revolution ladder match. AEW has gold on their hands. And look, man, this is going to be a discussion that goes on throughout several weeks, throughout several months, throughout years. Are they going to mess it up with Keith Lee, or are they going to get it right with Keith Lee? I am here to say this. Look, it does not have to be that Keith Lee has to automatically go into a world title feud. It has to be that Keith Lee is properly valued, because obviously he was not in WWE. So you gotta value this guy. You have to capitalize on this momentum. It cannot be an Andrade situation to where Andrade debuts. It's like, okay, he's a future whatever champion, and now he's a manager. No, you cannot do that with Keith Lee. You have to get it right. So far so good. You just have him go in there, and this is the best formula. I seen it yesterday. The best formula. This is what they did in NXT. They just let Keith Lee be Keith Lee. Like, you don't have to have all this fancy stuff. You don't have to have a nickname. Just have him go out there and maul people. A very Goldberg-esque formula. It works. People like to see big dudes throw people around the ring. It's very entertaining. So they just keep it simple. They should be okay. We will see. Look, man, if we're keeping it a buck, AEW better not blow it with Jay White either. Look, man, Jay White debuted, or he showed up in AEW. I don't know if he's under an AEW contract or not. Nevertheless, he's there, and he helped out on the beatdown of Rocky Romero. And Jay White better not be a background player. That's all I got to say. It's kind of like when Adam Cole came along, and it was Adam Cole and Kenny Omega. I had the opinion that Adam Cole and Kenny Omega, that can't coexist, because one of those guys cannot be the background player to the other. And to some extent, I feel that way with Jay White as well. He cannot be a background player to the elite. So I want to see what goes on. You know what? They have my interest. I'll go along for the ride. AEW, I love a good story. Tell me a good story. I'll go along and see where you take me. Just don't piss me off along the way. Nevertheless, there's a lot of people coming out excited about Jay White, legitimately excited. But it's a lot of people that, to me, I look at it and I'm like, okay, Jay White was doing things in Impact, and everybody's trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal. When he shows up in AEW, it's like, oh man, it's the greatest thing in the world. That's what some people are doing, and it really bothers me. I'm just saying, if you didn't like Jay White then, don't like him now. That's just me. But if you love Jay White, I know somebody that really loves Jay White, then so be it. Let's go along for the ride. Let's see where it goes. Bullet Club and AEW. War Games match, that could be possible. Moving on, if we keeping it a buck, Santana cooked old man Chris Jericho out there like Washington Wizards Michael Jordan. He cooked them. I have been saying for years, it feels like at least, that Santana and Ortiz need to be out of the inner circle. I've been saying that the parts of the inner circle are greater than the whole, except for Jake Hager. Like, they all need to be alone. So Santana came out. He said it's all about Jericho. It has always been all about Jericho, and Santana and Ortiz has been held back. Jericho said that, you know what, I got you here, and I did this. And like, man, Jericho, you better check the resume. Santana and Ortiz were tearing things up in Impact Wrestling. They were the hottest thing on the street when they got to AEW, but they got in the inner circle and they lost all of their momentum. So I hope this is leading to, I wanted to see in that segment, I wanted to see Chris Jericho get beat down. That's just me. I wanted to see them. You want some of this too, old man? No, I wanted to see them get beat down. I wanted to see them beat down Jericho. Like, I am done with this. They need to let Santana and Ortiz go on that path. It looks like we're headed there. Hopefully they're just getting this one tag match out the way. And yeah, Santana and Ortiz need to be going. Poor Sammy Guevara. Just like the child in the middle of a divorce. Y'all figure this out. I'm going to my room. Nevertheless, yeah, Santana and Ortiz need to be out of there, man. Moving on, if we're keeping it at a buck, Adam Cole has done nothing to earn a world title shot against Hangman Page in the ring. Like, okay, this is going to be a great match. Don't get me wrong. I love Adam Cole. I'm not the one that just comes up here and says Adam Cole is just a guy. But, however, he's involved in a very important storyline. They've done some things with Adam Cole, but what has he done in the ring to earn an AEW World Championship match? Like, AEW, one thing that I really used to like about them, like Brian Danielson came up to, I don't know if it was Kenny Omega or Hangman Page, and he said he wanted a title shot, and it was like, no, you gotta earn your way to a title shot. And I always loved that about AEW, but they've gotten away from it very recently. Lance Archer did nothing to earn a world title shot, and then boom, he popped up, he got a world title shot. Adam Cole hasn't really done much in the ring. Like, what is the memorable win for Adam Cole to just pop up and earn a title shot? I cannot think of one. Like, I mean, he's done some things with the Elite. Don't get me wrong, the matches have been good, but it's my opinion that you should earn your way to a world title shot. Like, that's just me. He lost in that lights out match. If the build, here's my thing. And there's a lot of people saying, oh, what a lights out match don't count. Like, if the whole plan was to eventually refocus Adam Cole into the World Championship matchup, why would you have Adam Cole lose that last match to Orange Cassidy? Like, just let Adam Cole win the match. That's just me. That's neither here nor there. But in the ring, as it pertains to in-ring, to me, Adam Cole has done nothing to earn a world title shot. Moving on, if we're keeping it at a buck, CM Punk cannot get his win back under any circumstances. We're gonna have a rematch with CM Punk and MJF, most likely to take place at Revolution. A tag match with CM Punk and Moxley versus FTR was outstanding. Just way too many near falls to me. Like, there can be so many near falls in the match where it just takes me out of the match, and it kind of did with this one. Nevertheless, overall, it was a fantastic matchup. Looking at CM Punk versus MJF, you cannot do the John Cena. Kevin Owens beat John Cena in that first match, and it was like, oh my God, Kevin Owens actually beat him. Then Cena gets his win back, and then that moment means absolutely nothing. The first moment of Kevin Owens winning means absolutely nothing. MJF, if he loses this match to Punk, the moment of MJF beating Punk in Chicago means absolutely nothing. It does. It means nothing. So CM Punk cannot get his win back. I don't care how you do it. MJF must win that match. You let him cheat again to win, and then it's over. Let it be over. I don't even think there needs to be a rematch in the first place. Nevertheless, since we have one now, MJF better win that match. Moving on, man, if we keeping it a buck, more main roster guys need to do what Dolph Ziggler did. Like, we need to have more of these main roster guys booked to go to NXT. Because Dolph Ziggler showed up Tuesday night, and immediately he looked like a big deal. Like, immediately, it was the biggest pop that, this is the damn shame, the biggest pop that Dolph Ziggler got since cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase and whatever post-Raw WrestleMania that was. That's the biggest pop he got. And Dolph Ziggler shows up, and he immediately looks like Dolph Ziggler again. He looks important again. Like, he looks like a main player again in NXT. And this is the thing that Finn Balor did. He started to flounder on the main roster due to no fault of his own. Went to NXT, built himself all the way back up. Unfortunately, he went back to the main roster, and they started to do the same things that they did with him before. But now that Dolph Ziggler is there, he can build himself right back up again. He got into it with Brian Baker. He got into it with Tommaso Ciampa. And I imagine there's going to be some type of match between Ziggler and Ciampa or Ziggler and Breaker down the line. But nevertheless, the dude looks legitimate again. Who thought? You go to NXT, you build yourself back up, and hopefully when he goes back to the main roster, please, I hope to God that they don't flounder the momentum. So look, man, I need to see more main roster guys. Please, God, send Ricochet back to NXT. Because that guy is way too talented to be getting treated the way he's being treated. Nevertheless, man, back there, it's just sitting and catering, eating up all the food, all the hog maw. I want some of that hog maw. I want some of them pig feet. If you get the reference, you get the reference. That's what Ricochet is back there doing, man. But moving on, man, if we're keeping it a buck, Sasha Banks is 10 times the star that Ronda Rousey is. Ronda Rousey, she's going to get the title match at WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair. And I'm just sitting here like, bruh, when are we going to start to appreciate Sasha Banks? Because when people talk about Ronda Rousey, they talk about how, Ronda Rousey is this big star. And WWE, you got to understand, Ronda Rousey has to be in the main event. She's this big star. She has to win the Royal Rumble. Well, what is Sasha Banks? Sasha Banks is showing up at the pregame of the national championship. She's leading us into the national championship, Alabama versus Georgia. Who was in that video? Sasha Banks. She's showing up on Star Wars. She's showing up on all of these TV, all of these movies. So I'm like, Sasha Banks is a star, and I'm telling you what is going to happen. Sasha Banks is much closer to Hollywood and leaving wrestling than we believe. That is strictly an opinion for me. And WWE is not going to appreciate Sasha Banks until Sasha Banks is gone from the company. When she goes to Hollywood, then WWE is going to come calling around and being like, oh, we got to get Sasha Banks. Oh, it's WrestleMania. We got to get Sasha Banks. No, you know that Sasha Banks is 0-6 at WrestleMania. She's the reverse Undertaker. Like, this is lunacy. She's one of the biggest stars on the whole roster, woman or man, and she's not going to be facing Charlotte Flair for the women's championship at WrestleMania like she should be. Like, this is nuts, man. It's Sasha Banks. One of these days she's going to be appreciated, and it's going to be when she's gone. Look, man, if we keeping it a buck, Lita is doing the same thing that Goldberg is doing. Look, I love Lita. I love that the segment on Monday Night Raw, and I'll get to that later, but we complain about part-timers. And under guise of they should not be taking up world title championship opportunities from the main roster guys. And normally it's guys with the part-timers. This time we have a woman who's part-timer in Lita. So I'm not saying it's a man-woman thing by any stretch of the imagination. Easy for me to say. What I'm saying is this: we have to be consistent. If we complain about Goldberg, we got to complain about Lita too. Because we can't do the thing to where, like, we care about part-timers, but it's only when it's part-timers that we hate, which is Goldberg for a lot of people. For me, I love Lita, but I don't think that Lita, even if it's just a throwaway match at the Saudi pay-per-view, I don't think that Lita should just waltz in and get a championship match out of nowhere, not earning it by any stretch of the imagination. So, Lita and Becky Lynch, I'm sure the match is going to be great. They built a great storyline, but I'm staying consistent, man. If I'm going to sit up here and complain about Goldberg, if I'm going to complain about Brock Lesnar, then I gotta complain about Lita. So that's where I'm at on that. We can't just complain about the part-timers that, we don't care about. Like, we gotta complain about the part-timers that we love too. So no, I don't want to see Lita versus Becky Lynch, even though Becky Lynch cut a hell of a promo on Monday Night Raw, her best promo since coming back. So props to her, props to them for building up the storyline. But no, I do not want to see Lita versus Becky Lynch. That's just me. Speaking of things I don't want to see, Big E. A lot of people upset, man, about the treatment of Big E, and how he's been shunned down the card. And if we're keeping it a buck, I don't know why y'all are surprised. Look, when Big E took the fall, in that five-way championship matchup, I already knew what it was. Because if they cared about Big E, they wouldn't have never had him take that fall in that fatal five-way when Brock Lesnar won the title. So when he took the fall in that fatal five-way, I knew that Big E was going right back down the card. So I expected this. And it's a darn shame because when Big E won the title, the dude was everywhere promoting WWE, doing everything he could as the champion. He was a great world champion. It's just that the way that they booked him, I did not like. They booked him to be less important than what he really was. So that's on the fault of WWE, not on the fault of Big E, like people are placing it to be. So I am not surprised that Big E is somehow magically on SmackDown back into a tag team. And I don't get it with WWE. You have to build up the guys that you have and stop relying on the past. But it's a darn shame because Big E is a main player and they refuse to treat him as such. He won the title and now it's like, nah, Big E, we need you to go back down to midcard. We need you to be in the tag team. Like, no! That's a guy that should lose the title and be refocused into a big feud heading into WrestleMania. But nope, that's not the way WWE sees him. That's a darn shame to me. But I'm not surprised. I wish I could say I'm surprised. I wish I could say I'm mad. But I'm not surprised. This is what they do, man. Of course, this is what they did to Kofi. He won the title and they sent him back down. He's back in the mid-card, back in the tag team. Big E wins the title back down. Because why we got to focus on Brock Lesnar? That's why. It's ridiculous, man. That's why WWE will stay where they are. Moving on to the final topic, man. If we keeping it a buck, Shawn Michaels paid off the WWE 2K developers, bro. I'm just saying, bro. I am just saying. Look at that. Look at Shawn Michaels' hairline in this picture. Shawn Michaels has not had a steady hairline since I was in elementary school. And I got out the 5th grade in 97. Like, you know how in college where they used to have these investigations, like when Reggie Bush got paid and they had this investigation and they took away the Heisman. Well, we need an investigation, man, because Shawn Michaels is out there paying people under the table for this hairline. Shawn Michaels ain't had that much hairline and that much hair and God knows when. Like, we live in the era of the PlayStation 5 and we talk about realistic graphics and stuff. Like, no, give me the Shawn Michaels on WWE 2K that was hanging on for dear life. Like, he would not come home. He was hanging on to that hair for dear life. He would not cut it off. That's the Shawn Michaels I want. And I want the bald Shawn Michaels as a side playable character. That's what I want. That's realistic graphics. That's the Shawn Michaels I want in this thing, man. Not this Shawn Michaels with the Vince McMahon hairline. Got all that hair on his head. No, that ain't Shawn Michaels. I don't know who that is. But Shawn Michaels, like I said, ain't had a steady hairline since like 97. So I don't know what kind of money he paid under the table. Maybe I need to go out for WWE 2K to be one of the developers so I can get some of this money that Shawn Michaels is paying off. Maybe it's in the millions. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want the Shawn Michaels that's on Rogaine and got all his hair on WWE 2K. That's not realistic. Give me the bald Shawn Michaels that showed up in that horrible Brothers of Destruction versus DX match. Give me that Shawn Michaels. That's all I'm saying, man. That's if we keeping it a buck. If you're a wrestling fan, follow me on Twitter at 2SweetPie and at Corey B. Elite.